Hey guys, Bondo here. We're gonna pour out this porch today and stamp it. It's got radiant heat in it. There's a potential they might close it in someday, so they put heat and put some spray foam underneath it. For the time being, it's not going to be covered. Just a little tiny house that we poured there a week or so ago, and that's what we're doing today. Stay tuned. Here comes the mud. There's a new driver here. Big Biscuit up there putting a color in it. We're doing like a buff color, it's called. It's a light brown. I know we're using, these are the stamps we're using today, guys. This rock pattern. We're using a charcoal release agent on it. And we're gonna stamp it. So Biscuit's just washing the color. He dumped the bucket in there. Now he's washing it down in. What they do is spin the concrete up the drum to the top, and then we throw the color in and they spin it back down in, and then they mix it in. You gotta mix it real good. Get that color in there. So we'll probably mix this for probably 10 minutes or so. Frank, let's see them boots. Dude,
check them out, bro.
Those are too nice.
Check them out, man. New concrete boots, boy.
I'm paying you too much.
No.
You get those fancy boots.
Come out of my budget.
Look at my boots, man. Look at my boots. Shit.
Well, these will look like that.
Tuna.
Boom.
He ain't smart enough to wear rubber boots yet.
I like concrete burns.
You like concrete burns?
Yeah.
Huh. What do you think? Hey guys, Bondo here. Today we're pouring out this porch slab for this house that we poured there a couple weeks ago. It was for Barrett. He's got the website there. I'll link you to his build. He's building a timber frame house here, and it's a slab on grade on a Nudura stem wall. And he built the stem wall himself, and we poured his concrete slab, his radiant heated concrete slab for his house. And here we are pouring out the porch section, guys. And we're pouring 4,000 pound concrete. We put color in it, as you've seen in the video there. Put a color called buff in it. It's like a light brown color. That's the integral color. And that's we're gonna use. We're gonna stamp this with a stone pattern stamp. It's called Heavy Stone. It's a Butterfield stamp, and we're gonna stamp that and use charcoal release agent for the powder release. And that's going to give it some antiquing, some marbling on the surface. Here we are pouring it out, guys. We just we hand screeded everything here. Got Big Biscuit with the bow float. After we hand screeded, he went back and bow floated it. We were able to hit this with the truck. Just drove right in and poured right out of the front loader truck. We poured 4,000 pound concrete. It had fiber mesh in it. We did not pull up the tubing and the wire because the tubing is very close to the surface on this slab. So actually I grooved it by hand. I didn't even want to cut this slab because the tubing was very close to the surface. So we used a sidewalk groover, and we actually grooved where we wanted our lines so that we didn't have to come back and cut this thing and take a chance of cutting into the tubing. So you can't really see that good, guys, but we're just coming around the corner here, finishing this thing up. Wasn't a lot of concrete in this slab. It was, I think it was about 4.5 yards. So, like I said, it wasn't very thick. It had spray foam insulation underneath it. And as you've seen there, it's got radiant tubing in it. And the wire mesh is there, but like I said, we didn't pull that up. That's just to hold the tubing down. So here we got it poured out, guys. Big Biscuit's floating it off. And that's how I did it. I'm tapping the edge of the form here with a hammer. Just kind of, that'll get rid of the honeycombing for you along the edge if you tap that good. That'll get rid of that and make it nice and smooth on the edge. So far, so good. See that brown color? We put a lot of color in there. It's gonna look nice. Here's that sidewalk groover, guys. We went along and snapped lines where we wanted these grooves. And the key to this is to get these in there while the concrete's still soft, because you got to set the stones down. And this tool here will actually push the stones out of your way. And then you can go back and it'll kind of fill in with a little bit of cream at the top, but those stones will be out of your way. If you wait too long to get these grooves in, you won't be able to set the stones and you'll have trouble getting the grooves in there. That's how we did this. And you can see we kind of broke it off the corner there so that, you know, if it tries to crack, it should crack right there where we seamed it. This groover's probably got an inch thick groove on it when you're done. It goes down in there pretty good, so that should control the cracking without coming back to cut this. Like I said, I didn't want to cut this thing with that tubing being so close to the surface. They wanted to put the tubing and the insulation in here just in case they ever finish this off. At first they're not going to have it finished, but down the road they may want to enclose this, so that's why they did that. They ended up putting the tubing right in there. That's how we did that. Then we went back, I went back here, and I'm funny floating, guys. That's a funny float. It's like a magnesium trowel on a stick, and I'm just hitting the grooves, kind of flattening them out, getting rid of that little ridge that the groover leaves, and flatten it out, make it nice and flat. And that'll actually push a little bit of cream into the grooved line. Here's a little better view of it. I think there was some powder on my camera, guys. The picture here ain't the greatest, but I think there was some concrete or something on my lens of on my phone here, so sorry about that. Here we are, just getting the surface. Try to get the surface all the same when you're doing stamped concrete, because if you have a different kind of one surface trowel a little more than the other, it's going to show up in your coloring when you're done. So we're trying to hit everything the same here and make it all look the same. We actually hand troweled a lot of this. You can see I'm closing the surface of the concrete and pushing the stones down, working up a little cream, and that's making the surface all look the same, which is going to take the stamp better, and it's actually going to make the color more uniform, the powdered color that we sprinkle on as we stamp it. Stay tuned, we're going to stamp this too, so that'll be good for you to watch. Probably good at this here. Okay, we just went through and hand magged everything and funny floated what we couldn't hand mag. Try to get the surface all the same so you don't have different textures, because they'll show up in your color when you sprinkle that powder on there. So we tried to make the whole surface all look the same. So it's all hand mag. We didn't use a steel trowel on it. We used a hand, just a mag trowel. And that funny float's a mag trowel too. Just about getting ready to stamp it here, guys, pretty soon. It's a little bit soft yet.
Testing 1, 2, 3 Bondo belt here. See how we're getting on there.
Yeah, but not much. Hardly talk. Keep moving that. You don't see the difference? We didn't have anything on it.
Easy.
Careful. Well, tuna action right there, huh?
One that even there.
Gotta be careful where that wind's going.
All the way around with it?
No, I'm gonna go just to here and then stamp it.
Motherfuckers. Yeah. Fuckers right in my ear.
Dude, they leave me alone left with my hoodie on.
Fucking biting the little bastards today too. I'm getting
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
pounded with these things.
I got welts
I'm
on
gonna
the
be
side of my head.
all fucking fucked up later. My eyes are gonna be all puffed up and shit.
Edit.
Mute.
Mute.
Give me a pole or something. Eating.
I guess you guys can, Frank and Tuna, you guys can go ahead with the just what I was doing.
Yep.
I can move right along with this.
Welts all over my face and the side of my head from these little bastards.
What was that thing you called? Or you showed me the truck Jason called?
What thing?
Where you showed me they did that outside that building.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
I always thought that looked cool, but I wondered why we'd never really see it around here. I feel like the only place I've seen it is around like pools.
I don't think it holds up that well.
Edge is still pretty soft.
Yeah. Too soft, I think, for us to get out of.
Definitely ain't biscuit ready.
Biscuit ready, you lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Sun's coming out though.
Nice thing about magging it though is it seems like it opened the surface a little.
Yeah, take the power off, I'm more even. Maybe it'll burn these bugs away.
I doubt it.
They don't like the heat.
I like that color to the outside.
Well, that's what the whole thing is gonna be.
We're just doing this so that it doesn't take the color different. You can't walk on that yet. If it's darker, it'll look good on the edge.
Watch, the edge will end up lighter this time.
I doubt it.
I don't know, we didn't mag it that last time.
It should be a little different than the rest of it, which is fine. I remember we magged one and you could see everywhere we magged it.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Took the color way different. Just as far as we could reach it.
It was way darker than everything else.
Yep, we opened that surface up. Got a little more paste on top and took the color a lot different.
I've killed about 30 of these things in the past minute.
That's probably good on that video. Okay guys, so you see how we did the border. We kind of grooved in a border, and then we used a piece of foam board to kind of block so we could just get the powder right where in the border, because we didn't want to get it into the surface, past the border, because it'll look a little different when we stamped it. So that's why we blocked that off, trying to keep the colors all uniform. Here we are, like I said before, this is called a heavy stone stamp. And this is a nice stamp if you've never stamped concrete before, because there's nothing to line up here. There's no grooves to lock in or anything. You can throw these mats down any way you want. And we like to rotate them a little bit. But I got these flat bottom shoes on that I'm stamping with here. If the concrete's soft enough, you don't have to ram it in there with the hand tamper. You can just walk on these stamps. Those flat shoes work really good. And it's actually a little easier on your body and your back and stuff if you just walk them in like that. So we try to time it so we can walk on these mats and not leave, little duck ponds where you're standing. If you get on there too soon and you don't have these wider bottom shoes, you can actually leave little duck ponds where you're standing, and you'll see that in the finish. So that's why we try to timing is very critical with the Stampcrete here. You can see we got a guy out there, I think it's Tuna, he's spreading the charcoal release powder, and I'm doing the stamping, and Biscuit and Frank are just kind of moving the stamps around and handing them to me. And when you pull these stamps up, you got to be real careful you don't slide them, because you'll actually see them scuff marks. So as we set them down, we kind of stamp them in, and then we pick up the other one over top of the one that's by it, and that kind of breaks up the pattern a little bit. And it makes sure you don't have like square lines along the sides of your stamping. And that's kind of, we've learned that little trick through the years of doing this. And you can kind of see this a little better at the end here, how we do that. But we just kind of pick up one and set the other over top of it after we stamp it, and we stamp it a little bit more. That just kind of breaks that pattern up, that square pattern, because these stamps are kind of square. You don't have to lay them down there square either. You can put them at a diagonal or whatever if you're doing a sidewalk or something. But these are the stamps to try. Like I said, this style, this seamless skin stamp, if you haven't stamped concrete before, this is what you want to start with. And actually, it's pretty popular too. A lot of people like this stamp. And it's real easy to do, and it's real popular. It looks really nice. Wait till you see this at the end. Make sure you wait till the very end of the video, guys. I got a picture that Barrett, the homeowner, took with his drone of a picture after he washed it off. It was before he sealed it, but after he washed it, and it looks really nice. You can see that brown color in there, and the marbling from the powdered release agent really come out sharp. He was real happy with it. You can see we're kind of moving right along. Obviously, it's in fast forward, but we can stamp these out pretty fast. And it was a fairly nice day. It wasn't super hot. The bugs were horrendous though. There was bugs everywhere, little punky bugs. We call them punkies here, and they like to bite you. And we were swatting them off, and they were just miserable that day. He's out in the woods here. He's like 1,000 feet off the road where he's building this little tiny house.
Those buckets of powder be put in the truck?
Wait a second, in case we need any. Work it for a minute.
Right.
Get some close up on. Can you flip this under?
I don't think so.
We got a little bit of a funky spot here in the corner where they're rolled up. them all down here now. Have them down there.
Not bothering me anymore. I'm moving too fast.
Like a lightning, dude. Lightning.
So why are you walking across that so much?
Because
Square dance.
we're square dancing. I'm walking to stamp the pattern into the concrete because it's so soft, so we don't need to use a hand tamper.
Well, that's a good idea.
Put this one on top of it.
Get right here.
I don't want to move that line. Take your hand tamper and get it. No, it shouldn't. You can pull it this way just a little bit. Yeah.
Solid.
Huh?
Getting kind of solid.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Certainly do.
I like the color of this one.
Yeah, me too. We tilt the wash and seal.
Yeah, I think it looks wicked good, man.
Last one, boys.
This is the one we're waiting for.
This is how we do
Money
it.
plate right here.
Oh yeah, he's getting into it.
Getting the old shuffle stamp. The jerky shuffle.
That's that right up to you, right?
Get it? Get the hand pad.
Up where I'm putting now. You might have just blasted out all that powder.
It should already be stamped.
So I already walked over it once.
Here we go, guys. Come out pretty nice. We got a border on it. We put some grooves in it with the hand groover, and we tried to stamp away from these grooves so we didn't stamp them right out. Reason we did the grooves, guys, is because the tubing was real close to the surface in some of these areas over here. The concrete wasn't super thick. I didn't prep this, so it was just a little bit thinner than I normally would. So I don't dare cut this thing. So I told the customer that I was going to try to groove it. Actually looks really nice. The grooves actually look better than if it was cut. It's hard to see if it's coming out good on my phone. It's all dirty from the powder, but hopefully you can see it. I think it's gonna look sweet when it's cleaned up with that light brown in it with a charcoal release when it's sealed. There we go, boys and girls. Thanks for watching.